Hello again. How are you
Hello.
doing? It's
It's extremely hot in here.
oh really?
It's the
Are
hottest
you
day of the year.
you're getting the
Uh,
same heat wave that was killing all the Brits earlier?
yeah, it's probably the same.
It
I
sucks. Yeah.
I was working outside,
The Sun
like on
Devil
a.
has been attacking you lately.
Ooh, the Sun Devil would be
Sun
really
Devil.
powerful. Especially since, I mean, we know that Earth is going to eventually perish inside the sun when it
Yeah, that's
expands.
true.
So, the longer we are on this planet, the more powerful the Sun Devil will become, because the
Yeah.
closer we go to the Sun Devil being evil. And also, like, every time some scientist is like, "Oh, we found out that there's some flares coming," it's like,
Mhm.
"Oh,
That increases its power again. Hmm.
being so powerful."
Too powerful. We can't get away from it. Only at night. Oh, we still can't get away from it because the moon reflects it.
Does
Too
the
strong.
sun would the Sun Devil be more powerful on a night with moonlight, or is that time for the Moon Devil to come out?
The Moon Devil will come out. There's probably one of each. Yeah. Anyway, today we're here for this week's chapter of Chainsaw Man, chapter 99, Two Birds. How'd you like it?
I liked it very much.
I liked it a lot too.
Like, this is one of those debriefing chapters after the first chapter was like the tutorial fight with a big cinematic that had like
Yeah,
a
with
quick time event, and
right.
now it's like one short scene where the character is waking up and
Yeah,
getting out of bed, and
right.
then the codec call starts happening,
Codec
and
call.
it's
That's a
just
great way to call these. Yeah, I'm looking forward to
it's
this being like a recurring thing with Mitaka and War talking. My
I like
first
it.
reaction at the first page was just like, oh, I'm so happy that she's alive and herself because, there'd been some speculation that after that chapter it was going to be, I mean, speculation from me.
It was our
It was just
speculation.
going to be a one shot introducing the backstory for the War Devil, and then she would just become a antagonist to Chainsaw Man.
Right.
But
And
I
it
feel like
would.
if maybe she is still considered an antagonist, but or a villain, but a villain protagonist now. She's gonna be fighting the main character, but we're
Yeah,
following along with her
that's a
story.
thing.
Yeah,
Personally,
it's
I
great.
wouldn't have minded if it was just the War Devil now inside Mitaka's body,
Yeah.
and just getting used to pretending to be her,
hmm
finding out what her life is like to blend in. But
hmm
from this chapter, we've seen that she kind of doesn't really mind being a little sus.
Yeah. Just a little bit though. She's like, I want you to, swap to act normally.
She has
Um,
a
mhm.
relatively simple-minded plan. She just wants to
Yeah.
go into the school, find
Find
Chainsaw
Chainsaw Man
Man.
and fight him straight up.
Yeah. And if on the way she can manage to get more possessions, that's perfect, because this
hmm
chapter also
Yeah, there's the reveal that
confirms how her power works. It has to be stuff that she owns.
right, and
And
she owns you if you're a person that's in love with her, like the teacher, or if you're her
yeah,
boyfriend. Although I wonder how much that extends, because people will talk about relationships, even very loose ones, like in a possessive, like your classmates, but she doesn't own them in that case, right?
yeah, no,
She can't
that
just turn
doesn't.
them into weapons.
That's not enough. But I
No.
think love is very comprehensive. Like, you don't really have to explain it that much.
Yeah.
You get the concept
hmm
of yeah,
Ownership through that. Oh,
ownership
also, I
in
wanted
this
to
case.
say the title of this chapter is Two Birds. I was like, hey, but last chapter had two birds. We had the
Oh, that's
frogmouth bird
true.
look for War before possessing Mitaka, and we had
And
the
Bucky.
Bucky, yeah, the chicken look. So it's no
That's
birds.
kind of late,
Yeah.
right? Like,
This
why
chapter is
wasn't?
actually no birds. Unless you're going in the British vernacular of calling young women birds. It's two birds in one.
Okay, Grandpa. I like the start of the chapter that kind of opens
Was it
up
a dream?
the
No, it's not a
the
dream.
possibilities for self-cess, because that's
I'm already seeing it on Twitter. People are drawing the two
Yeah.
of them together. It's great.
people have been really quick.
I know
on
the
ball with
fan
new
art for
Chainsawman
this
stuff.
series. It's amazing. Yeah, I think we were discussing off stream about how maybe because Fujimoto did those one shots that were all about the creative process, basically.
Yeah.
That it drew artists into loving Chainsaw Man even more. So all the fan artists are concentrated in the Chainsaw Man fandom right now.
That's one possibility. I think another possibility, or a factor that's adding to the mass of creative output for Chainsaw Man, is that it's such a niche series.
Yeah.
It's a cult hit. It's not completely mainstream, but all of the right people are raving about it,
When you
because
said it's cult, it made me wonder, like, do you think that there's some effect of people going like, there's not enough fan art of this, I guess I gotta make some. And then with all the artists thinking that at once at the beginning of part 2, then it's just a smorgasbord of stuff.
A little bit, yeah. And that, I mean, it's weird to say that about a series that's running in Weekly Shonen Jump, but
well,
like
it's not
the
quite.
most,
I mean, it's Jump Plus, so it's not got quite the reach of
the second season, yes, but Chainsaw Man as a whole, I would say outside of Japan is still kind of like unknown.
Right.
Before the anime hits, nobody really
well,
knows
it's just
about
like Spy Family. Before the anime came out, I feel like nobody in the English-speaking world was talking about it at all. When the anime came in, it's like everywhere. So I expect whenever the anime for this comes out, it's gonna be insane how much of it we'll see.
Maybe it's even going to become obnoxious, unbearable even.
Yeah, that's. I was gonna say that's a fear that would become obnoxious, but actually it's not the biggest fear. Do you know what my biggest fear is? Do you know what's the strongest devil in my mind right now?
The devil of Simpsons porn being forbidden.
No. It's the Netflix live action adaptation devil. It's so strong right now because they just announced the Yu Yu Hakusho live action adaptation made by Netflix, and I'm like, oh no, please don't let them get Chainsaw Man. That's my one fear. So yeah.
The devil of that one is going to get so powerful once.
I know. It's
once
so
Netflix
strong.
is. The worst thing is that I'm pretty sure that this is going to happen in like 10 years, and they're going to make an American version of it, and it's going to suck so hard because it's going to.
I don't want it. I really don't want it.
It's going to do the thing in Just Listen to the Song, where people were like, "Oh, it's saying so much about American gun culture and stuff," and it's going to do that, but not even hidden, like straight up. It's going to suck so much.
I won't like it. Please no, please stop that from happening. The biggest fear. Anyway,
the devil of that is going to be so powerful.
So you got this panel of War introducing herself, or reintroducing herself to Mitake.
Yeah,
and
she's so attractive. Look at this shot, the pose, the look she's giving you, and her entire design. She starts. Previously, she was already like and I would say attractive girl. She's not bad looking. She sometimes makes weird faces, but that's just because
that makes her more cute.
That's to us, but it's situational. In essence, she's a good-looking girl, and now she's opening, like when she's War, she's opening up her hair and she's going all seductive sometimes, and this
with
is
her eyes. Also, I like that she has a change in mannerisms, like the way she the way she sits, and she's always like sort of doing something with her hand, like pointing to herself in this, how do you call this manner?
It's an almost JoJo pose.
Well, we can't see where the other hand is on her pants. But
Yeah,
I do like this way that she points to herself with her whole hand. That way she can prevent accidentally shooting the spell into other people.
that's going over everybody's heads who's not reading Witch Watch.
Well, people should watch or read Witch Watch too, since that's also something I feel like the English-speaking anime and manga fandom has been sleeping on. It's such a good series.
Maybe
one more
if
thing.
the anime is getting made. On the other hand, I don't think a lot of people have talked about the anime for Kanata no Asta, so
maybe they're not going to make an anime, but Witch Watch is better.
It is better, and I think it has way more potential to get an anime.
Yeah.
The question is if people are going to jump on it or not.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I hope they would, because I mean, I know some people who definitely would, but like the broader market, I'm not sure.
Right.
Yeah, I did want to say about this panel, something we missed last week, or we didn't miss, but we didn't resolve. We were looking at her scars, like, this reminds me of another character, but we couldn't think of who it was.
Right.
And it turns out, like, absolutely everyone else, like, instantly saw it, except for us. And it looks almost exactly like the facial scars for Sugimoto the Immortal from Golden Kamui.
Right.
And it makes it even funnier because the author of that was one of the people named as the casualties from the Gun Devil attacking Japan. So it's like, oh, maybe they're friends. Maybe it's a reference. And it just made me think, like, oh, how many other times there's like a reference to somebody else, like some other celebrity or author in a manga, and it's because they're friends. Like, well, going back to Witch Watch, there was the Gintama author. They mocked him. It's like, oh, are they friends, or is he like trashing him?
I really want to know
Like,
those kind of things.
Yeah,
that's the stuff that Bakuman is made of.
yes. Or like when Mr. White showed up in Sakamoto Days.
Right, you can never be too sure.
Do you think Yuto Suzuki is friends with Bryan Cranston?
Probably not, but it would
I'm
be
gonna put you in my manga.
too weird if a lot of the NPCs that we see who get killed, like this panel here from Sakamoto Days, if a lot of those characters are actually like the assistants or friends of the authors, and it's always their kind of way to be like, hey, I put you in the story, and then the person dies, and then they don't have to feature them again.
I forget what it was, but I vaguely remember some other manga where it was one of those class, school manga, and people would say like the background characters that don't have speaking roles in the class are all characters from the assistants stuff. And I was like, oh, that's a neat way to get your OCs some more screen time.
I don't remember that, but I do know that.
But I feel like I saw it.
In the earlier chapters of One Piece, Oda was putting one of his friends into wanted posters and stuff.
Oh, that's cool. I thought you were gonna say characters, and I'm like, oh, was Oda friends with Michael Jackson? Because that was one character who strongly resembled a celebrity.
Hey, can you move me like 2 pixels down? I think when I'm talking, I'm...
You're bouncing off screen. All
yeah,
right,
that's the problems of me still being a PNG. I mean, I'm a GIF, but soon.
GIF-tuber. Soon you will become fully animated.
Yes.
Anyway, moving on. So, War forces Mitaka to go back to school because she did some detective work, like we love in stuff like Super Smartphone. War is now a detective.
Fairly easy detective work. Another devil fought Chainsawman. Chainsawman killed him, but in the process of fighting him, he managed to rip one of the buttons off of him, off of his school jacket, and
Yeah.
I guess the war devil found it, and that's
Yeah.
how she figured out that, oh, this button belongs to school uniforms of this
Mhm.
school, so I'm going to go in there and
Maybe that's why War was a bird before, because birds love picking up weird knickknacks like that.
but it was such a weird bird. It would be
I know.
less conspicuous. Like, if she had to hide herself, she would hide herself as a
Yeah, a pigeon
crow.
if you're in a city. Yeah, or a crow. Yeah, there's more crows in Japan, right?
Yeah,
Than compared to pigeons in other
Yes.
places. Yeah, crows are cool.
which is good because crows are cool, pigeons are dirty. I said what I said.
Crow supremacist. The thing is, I think pigeons, the thing about them is that they're quite trainable. Crows are very smart, but like for some reason people don't bother to train them. And I wonder if
They
it's
don't wanna be
a
trained.
temperamental thing, like cats and dogs, where it's like some people think that dogs are way smarter than cats because you can train them easier, but actually not. Cats are also pretty smart. It's just that cats generally aren't into it as much. They don't desire to please humans like dogs do. Dogs will be like, yes, I'll do what you want. Cats are like, I don't care.
The cat has evolved to know that it doesn't have to do anything to get the food.
Yeah. So that's what
Dog
that's
still
the
needs to work
that's what
for it.
crows and pigeons are like. Crows are the cats of the avian world.
But then somebody's going to come out and post the green text of the guy who trained a murder of crows to do his bidding.
Yeah.
You remember that,
It's like
right?
a super villain.
Somebody who just gave them food and then they
Oh,
brought him stuff, and then when they
okay.
accidentally brought him money,
money, yes. So he accidentally
gave them
trained
better
them to steal stuff.
So now they like,
when you
this
said
stuff,
that, I misremembered it, and I had mixed two stories in my mind.
That's a different story.
And I started mixing it with the story of the guy who worked in a sandwich shop and would give the extra bread to hobos, like who were just like on his way home. And one time he got mugged, and just hobos came out of nowhere and like beat up the criminal and saved him. And I mixed that up in my mind. I thought, because I was imagining for a moment like this guy befriending crows just by giving them stuff, and then one day he gets mugged and a murder of crows shows up from nowhere and pecks the bad guy to death.
I think that's not too unlikely.
Yeah, what a story that would be. That would be amazing if you saw that in the news. Anyway,
I'd love that.
So War has this button, and it's like, okay, I know that Chainsawman is a student at this school, or at least wears this school uniform. So fortuitously, Mitaka gets killed by the Justice Devil in her classmate. So she's like, okay, I'm gonna take your body now. I'm wondering, like, do you think that War had her eye on Mitaka, or was just like, oh, lucky, one of the kids from this school got killed? Just
I think it's lucky. Because otherwise there were no other indicators for why it would have to be Mitaka,
why it would be her,
or any of the machinations that happened.
Yeah, that's fine with me. I mean,
because the last chapter was all like, the reveal is
right, it was me all along, Mitaka.
Help me do it, and then it would be way too much if then the War Devil was like,
it's also like that. So the War Devil's like, so I left you with your own personality so that you can, act normal and I can blend in better for doing more research on where Chainsawman is, which that makes for a fun little back and forth with the two of them. And she goes and she meets a transfer student.
Yeah, this handsome guy.
Yeah, this amazingly handsome guy shows up, and I didn't recognize him at first. It's like, oh, she just coincidentally meets this like pop star looking dude, but he's also got these very distinctive markings on his ear. Right? I'm not sure if it's like earrings or if it's tattoos or something.
I thought it's earrings.
Yeah, I think it's earrings. But so at first I thought, like, is this guy a new character? And it's like, no, he's not. He actually has appeared before.
Really?
Yeah, his name is Yoshida, and he was one of the private devil hunters, so he doesn't have like a big role. I think most of the characters of the big role are the other public devil hunters.
Yeah. Public servants.
But he was one of the private devil hunters who gets hired to protect Denji in the arc where the international assassins are coming to get him.
Really?
Yeah, so they talked a bit then about how like he's a high school student who also is a private devil hunter, and his excuse for leaving the fight, because I think he's there when they have the whole thing against the Darkness Devil, and
he was there.
And the old guy after that is like, "Do you want to, keep doing this stuff with us?" He's like, "No, I gotta go study for exams." So he just kind of left the story then, but he was strong enough to be able to fight with what's her name, the Arrow Fiend, or not Fiend. I guess she's a hybrid like Denji, Quan Shi. He could fight with her and not instantly die. Well, everyone else, like, she's just chopped in half instantly.
I completely forgot about that.
So he was there very briefly, but apparently made enough of an impact to make it onto the character poll. Because I look back on the character ranking poll, and there he is in the back. He's not quite as popular as Kobeni's car, but he made it. He's actually got slightly more popular than Hineno, which is a surprise. But yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's a surprise. So
now we recognize him. So he's our connection to part 1 for the new team, as it is.
It kind of makes it extra funny with what's happening in the next page that I cut out.
Right. Because immediately War takes over and it's like, I'm gonna try to seduce this guy.
He notices the scars.
Yeah, I like that. So it does show that it is noticeable when they switch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because have you seen Fight Club?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, do you know the premise of Fight Club, right?
Yes, I know.
Yeah. So
just with most movies that I haven't seen,
you've been spoiled on them. You just haven't personally seen it.
Right.
Because in that movie, the protagonist has a very distinctive scar on his hand. And then it turns out that after he gets that scar, he sees that the deuteragonist, who later becomes the antagonist, also has the same scar on his hand.
Is a deuteragonist? Is that a dude who becomes the protagonist?
No, it means the secondary main character. Yeah, and it's spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen the movie or hasn't gotten spoiled. It's because they're two alternate personalities of the same guy. And,
is there a bro-teragonist to get?
I think deuteragonist. I can't say it now. Deuteragonist. I think that works if you're saying dude. They're dudes. They're bros. And then they end up fighting each other because they're actually the same. But yeah, in this, unlike that, Nitaka in normal mode does not have the scars, but in war mode does have the scars.
It would be really weird to see somebody who's talking to you and then suddenly
scars appear on your face. You'd be like, did I not notice that? And especially since Yoshida has had experience with fighting devils, so he's met fiends and hybrids before, so he should And it made me wonder, actually, if he's at school basically for the same reason that War is, from hearing rumors that Devilman goes to the school. So he's like, well, I'm gonna go here too. Like, either I doubt that he'd be hunting Devil or hunting Chainsawman, but maybe as an assignment to protect him.
Possible. I mean, he knows him. He knows what he looks like.
He protected him before.
Could be.
So, could be.
Which makes him not telling, like, if he knows everything and he's
Yeah.
not spilling the beans, that makes this interaction extra funny, because if you are on a mission to find somebody who you
Mhm.
know who it is, then
Yes.
somebody comes up to you out of
And it's
nowhere,
like,
do
you know where this guy
suddenly
is?
flashes like the evil mark, and
Mhm.
is like, "Hey, do you happen to know where this very specific person might be? I think he's in this
Yes.
school. Do you think you could identify him?" And he's like,
Hmm. Can I?
he
No.
just
Yeah.
presses the lie button. Nah.
Mitaka is not
It's
she's
not
a
even-
or War
it's-
is not a detective enough to be able to press X to doubt. I bet.
She's so obvious that he doesn't even need to pass
Mhm.
a speech check. It's just an option to
Just
say,
an option.
nah.
Yeah. There's no number beside it asking your charisma or to make a roll. But he rejects her, and I thought this is really funny because, like you, everyone else was super falling in love with War already. So then Yoshida like rejects her immediately, and I could feel the entire fandom going, "No, it should have been me." All the
It's
boys
not
reading this
fair.
are like, "Yeah, it's not fair. I want to be the one who she turns a spine into a sword."
Maybe she turned something else into a sword.
Yeah, all the bones of her body, they can all become weaponry. Actually, yeah. So
Incidentally, you just
Uh-huh.
described a different Jump series that got cancelled.
oh no. Oh,
Do you
Bone
remember
Collection,
that?
right?
The Bone Collection.
Yeah. Well, we'll
I
not
would say
talk about
that
Bone
one-
Collection anymore.
I would say that one
That
was in
deserved to be
this
cancelled, I thought.
kinda, yeah. It wasn't a similar niche as Doron Dororong,
Mhm.
but I would say the Bone Collection was actually had way more potential because it had a way
Hmm.
more versatile
Yeah, the magic
premise,
in it.
and even though the bad guys were also yokai,
Mhm.
it was way better yokai designs, I would say.
Well, I think most things with yokai have way better yokai designs than
And
Doron.
yeah.
Those are, so many of them are bad. Yeah, let's not talk about Doron right now. Anyway, after this is when War reveals that she can turn anything that is her possession, including people who she considers to be her possession, into weapons. So she's like, "Oh, if I had a boyfriend, then I would have one more source of weapons." And Mitaka is like thinking to herself how she could possibly get away from War. It's like, maybe I'll find a devil hunter. And it's revealed that actually War can hear all of her thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's no getting away from her. And do they make a contract, or just she agrees with her? Because I feel like before they make a big deal about how when you interact with the devil to get something from them, you have to make a contract. But they didn't outright say that word this time, did they?
I think it probably goes after real life legal rules, in that
You have to sign
sometimes when
something with the devil.
when you say, like, I'll do the job for you, and
A
you
verbal
do a
contract.
handshake, it's not a verbal contract. If
Oh.
you say you do it, then it kind of counts, and it counts
Mm.
doubly if it's the devil, because
Okay, well, maybe so. But War does promise her, if we beat Chainsawman, I'll return your body to you. And it's like, let's see if that's true or not. I don't believe you're gonna be able to beat him. Maybe you will. I mean,
who knows?
yeah, he's
It's a
gotten beaten
possibility.
before. Yeah. And at that, I was like, I like Mitaka a lot, and on one hand, I want her to survive. On the other hand, I just assume that Denji is gonna somehow win.
Who
He's the
knows?
title
It's really
character.
hard to gauge with Fujimoto who gets to live and who gets to die.
Mhm.
Even though somebody gets introduced and characterized
Yeah.
very well,
Well, I mean,
that
have you seen the
doesn't
chart of characters
save
from
you.
part 1 showing how many had survived?
Oh, somebody made a
It's
chart?
a wipeout, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, people getting wiped out in this series.
Almost everybody died.
Yeah,
Except Denji
almost everyone.
and the Scar
Denji,
dude.
the old guy. I think his name is Kichibe?
Could
I
be.
may be wrong, yeah. Who else survived? Kobeni survived. Yeah.
All right.
I feel like she's the kind of character who's like characterized as being weaker than most, even though like from the one scene where she was actually fighting, she was quite competent. After she cried for a while, and she got to the stabbing and was pretty good at it. But I feel like she's the kind of character who's like you get the weaker one who lives to the end, no matter who else dies.
Sometimes
she'll be the last
one of
girl.
Those characters.
Yeah. I like characters like that.
I like it when those characters actually manage to pull off the one thing that nobody else was able to do. JoJo is really good at delivering those kind of characters.
Oh yeah,
like
definitely. Like Emporio was.
Emporio is
pivotal for the whole ending.
And
anyhow.
Hayato Kawajiri and well, anyways, that's the chapter. They joined the Devil Hunter Club and
right. Mitaka's idea was I'm gonna try to find a Devil Hunter to assist me in getting rid of War, and War immediately shoots that down like, no, you're not going to do that. But she's like, maybe you should join the Devil Hunter Club so you can get more leads on Chainsawman, because maybe Chainsawman is part of the Devil Hunter Club. So she goes and joins, and they get put in 3-man teams, just like in Naruto. And she gets put with Yoshida and this cute glasses girl.
Yeah, new waifu spotted.
New waifu spotted. I thought about it. I was like, I don't remember any glasses girl character in this series before. There's the one page for Power War glasses.
Yeah, Power is a glasses girl.
Yeah, just for one page.
When she gets the Nobel Prize, then she's a glasses girl.
That's right. Yeah. I miss Power.
Wait,
what if this is the return of Power? Because remember at the end of part 1, Power makes a contract with Denji and says you have to find the respawned Blood Devil and make it turn back into Power. She'll be back. What if Power comes back and is actually like very intelligent this time?
No, I don't want that. She has to be a dumbass.
Because I was thinking there's also the Cosmos Devil. Do you remember her? She's one of the fiends that works with Quan Chi, the assassin. She's the girl who says Halloween all the time.
Oh, her.
Yeah.
I thought she was the Halloween devil.
No, Cosmos. Because what happens is that she goes into your mind and makes you see a library that contains books about every single topic in the cosmos. And all that information gets stuffed into your mind like in an instant. And the overflow of information makes it so that it breaks your brain and you're unable to say anything after that except for Halloween. And it's unexplained why Halloween is the only thing you can say. But yeah, that's how it works.
I wonder
and with her, she seems really dumb normally because all she says is Halloween. But then when she goes into people's minds, she like becomes very verbose and is describing all the things that are going to happen. Which actually, in a way, is it's the same gag as Chappelle's Show with Lil Jon. If you see that one.
Yeah, I was trying to think of who it is that I was thinking of. But that's him. Yeah,
if Power returns, but they do the Lil Jon. I would appreciate that. I'd like that.
I wonder if Cosmos is kind of the correct translation for that, because if her power is like the everything, I wonder what the Japanese used to be for her.
I'll let you go and research that.
Cosmos,
Yeah. Anyway, any other
Yeah.
comments about this chapter? I was
And-
surprised that
no.
I was pleasantly surprised that we got this continuation of the camera focusing on Mitaka instead of jumping straight to the Denji. Because I guess like partly it's people who want to see what Denji is up to with Nayuta are getting.
Yeah, because he
they
used
have to be
the
left hanging. But
protagonist.
on the other hand, I'm like, I'm really
he used to be
enjoying
the
Mitaka.
protagonist.
Yeah. What if he's the antagonist of this one? An entire part 2 is let's fight Chainsaw Man.
No, I have the feeling that this is kind of like the Metal Gear Solid 2 rhythm of how you start out as like you expect
Start out as Snake
play
and
as
then
Snake.
switch to
The thing is, at the beginning of Metal Gear Solid 2, you're asked if you've played Metal Gear Solid 1
That's
or
right.
not. And if you didn't, you start out as Raiden.
Mhm.
And if you do, you start out as Snake. And after
So if
the
you're on
Snake
Jump
part,
Plus and you type in "I've read Chainsaw Man Part 1," then it'll start you on Denji.
so a lot of people were really pissed that you play as Raiden for the majority of the game.
Yeah, I remember people hated him. They're like, "Where's Snake? I want more
Even though
Snake."
it was amazing, but
Oh,
I
his
think
cartwheels.
I think Chainsaw Man is doing a similar thing here, where you're supposed to expect to see Snake all of the time, and then he just shows up as Snake Plissken.
Well, actually, but they were on the same side. The gaming references that I would reach for at this point would be Detroit Become Human and Last of Us 2. Both of those are extremely popular and in my opinion, extremely bad games. I know lots of people love them, but I think that they're really stupid. But one thing that was interesting in both of them is that you switch perspectives a lot in those games between two characters who are antagonizing each other. And you can kind of, not in Last of Us because it's a very linear story, but in Detroit you can kind of choose sort of which guy you like more.
Right.
Which guy will be the true protagonist by the end. So I'm thinking more of that is going on here, where it's like, okay, we've spent a lot of time with Denji, and now we're going to spend a lot of time with someone who's, have to get him. So we'll be invested in both when they come to blows.
If you compare it to Last of Us 2, then I would say this is already doing way better of a job than that, because I think what's her name?
Abby
I wouldn't root for her.
No, well, I remember seeing videos that I pretty much agreed with of players getting to the boss fight where you play as Abby against Ellie and just losing on purpose over and over because they're like, I want to see Ellie win. I like her more.
It's such a prime real estate to have that kind of decision in gameplay that you just decide to let it happen and it kills you, and then you think you get
people
the
were mad when they said it's a bad game over. They're like, this should be a good game over. But that's not going to happen here because we actually do like Mitaka.
If it really comes to a big fight where we have to decide who do we root for more, I'm not sure if I.
Yeah, I know it's gonna be hard for fans. Like all the simps out there are gonna be war all the way. So yeah, if he breathes, he's gonna vote for war to win. Any other comments?
No. I had a prediction.
Expectations or predictions for next week?
I had a prediction off screen where I thought that the next thing that's going to happen is that they go out on a mission and meet a devil, and they have to fight it, and it's going to get a little bit messy. And then Chainsawman shows up and saves them, and he doesn't transform back into Denji, so War can't identify him. But she's on the cusp of transforming herself and revealing herself to everybody else. And
that would be the cliffhanger page. Is War's face behind Mitaka, like, oh, I'm gonna get him.
And then afterwards, that's when we get to see Denji's side. Like after this whole exchange,
a fine time to switch.
It switches the perspective of what his normal day is like, and then he sees them in the background or something, doing their own thing, and you're like, oh, I know what they're up to, and it's funny how this relates to.
Yeah, and Denji doesn't even realize what's going on. That would be good. I saw a fan comic that I was like, fun. I really hope this happens. Where, because Mitaka is very embarrassed about War asking out Yoshida, right?
Yeah.
And he's such like a stereotypically handsome guy that you think that like, you know, she would want him, and she is embarrassed because she got rejected. And there's a fan comic that's what if Mitaka meets Denji and it turns out that like because Denji is like very goblinized, right? But what if it turns out that he's her type?
Oh no!
And she sees Denji and she's like, oh, he's so cute. And War is like, seriously? That would be I think that would be a really funny twist. I don't know if it would happen, but
that would be.
I would enjoy it.
Would cause so many problems.
I know,
I'm not sure
but it would be funny problems.
It might be funny.
The fan artists are already on it in any case.
If there's anybody who I would have trust in to pull it off properly without me cringing all the way and going like, oh no, I don't want it, then it's Fujimoto.
Yes, yeah. The level of trust we have in Fujimoto is so high right now after Chainsaw Man Part 1 and his 3 one-shots.
Oh, the one-shots were so good.
We're so primed to eat up anything he delivers us. Like, yeah, just leave the cover on it. We'll eat it. Whatever it is.
It's kind of refreshing to have this kind of trust in a creator.
Oh, and, definitely.
Not having to fear being disappointed completely.
Yeah. I agree. Well, another thing. I'm going to be out of town for a while, so either it will be late or there won't be a Orekara next week.
Oh no!
But if there isn't, then we'll do double episodes the following week.
Maybe that'll give me enough time to become 3D.
Yeah, do it.
I did the one thing that I needed to do before I can start the computer.
Yeah.
I checked for, like, I told you what the problem was, right? I was building the computer and I was screwing in the fans, and then one giant screw suddenly went missing and I had no idea where it was. I looked everywhere and it never showed up again. So my only conclusion was that maybe it fell inside the computer.
Oh,
and it fell maybe into like one of those gaps in between the graphics card. So I thought, I have to remove it again and shake it to see if it comes out, because it didn't make a noise when I shook the whole tower, and it didn't come out. So now I'm relatively confident that it's not inside the graphic card, and if I turn the computer on, then it doesn't do a crunchy noise, and suddenly I am $1,300 in the minus.
Yeah.
I think I can start the computer now, so that's going to lead to progress.
Yeah. Maxi, become 3D. All right. Well, until next time, I've been Percival Fine. I'm here with
Maxi Hamburger,
and we'll see you for more Chainsaw Man next week or the week after. Yeah. And in the meantime, just eat up all that fan art that all the creatives are delivering.
Or reread Chainsaw Man.
Or reread it. Yeah, I reread Part 1 like 2 weeks ago and loved it. It was great. Very excellent series.